thank you for everybody being patient in the chat. Appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight as we have some NASCAR 08 content on the channel. Busch Series Racing is at the California Speedway tonight. Race number 27 of 35, and it'll probably be the second to last race of our Busch Series season because we should be able to clinch the championship within the next two races as long as I have decent enough finishes. This is going to be a tough one today, though, because in the first race at California Speedway earlier this season, I lacked speed. I finished 20th, which is actually the worst finish I've had all season long. One of only 3 races I finished outside the top 10 in on the Busch Series season. So we've got our work cut out for us. I'm starting in the last place position. Qualifying did not go well for me. I thought I put down a pretty good lap. Didn't really matter. I freed the car up a ton because I felt like I was tight when I first rolled off in practice. So if you're wondering why I was about 9 minutes late to the stream, it's because I was running as many practice laps as I could to try to get the car dialed in as much as possible because I knew I struggled here the last time I raced. Even though I was still new to NASCAR 08 at that time because it was only the second race of the season and I had never played NASCAR 08 before we picked up the start of the seasons on this playthrough. So we'll see what we can do this evening. We have 300 miles, 150 laps to try to get it done. I would expect this to be a 3 pit stop race, but we shall see. And green flag is in the air. We're underway. And hopefully we can bring this thing into victory lane. Try to get as many positions off the initial start as I can here. It's like some of the field kind of stacking up a bit. I don't want to slide up too much and give up the bottom. That's all right. I think I can get a run off turn 2 in the draft. He didn't have any drafting help down on the bottom of the racetrack. All right, I'll take that. I picked up 5 spots in the first corner as we were getting up to speed. Passing's going to be difficult because I don't think I have that fast of a race car. Dang it. Campbell keeps getting underneath me. Now I'm 3 wide middle, which I really don't like. Hopefully I can break clear. Campbell doesn't have that drafting help, though, and the draft is huge at California with these long straightaways. Oh, boy. Hang on to it, Marcos. I had a way bigger run than I thought I was going to have after him. Dang, man, I just keep getting passed on the inside. It's not like my car is drifting up the racetrack much either. I'm just getting beat through the corner. Tried to block a little bit more aggressively through the tri-oval that time, cut him off. So I got the 36th, and then I gave 2 spots up to David Stremme and Marcus Ambrose. That time I slid up the track a little bit, but Campbell couldn't capitalize. Wade Bamhall, thanks for tuning in. Boy, that Kevin Harvick that was down on the apron through 3 and 4, he was 3 wide. I thought he was going to slam into the car to his outside. The first one would have been in the middle lane. Just ran my fastest lap of the race. I still got passed. Well, maybe not. He didn't clear me. We're going to be pack racing for a while here, I'd assume. That's the way the Michigan race went for a while. And in that Michigan race, I finished 15th, too. Granted, I had a couple of speeding penalties that day. When I hit pit road in practice, I didn't speed, and I was very cautious, trying to find where the commitment line was. So I'm going to have to take it easy when I come into the pits. Might give up a little time, but I don't want to speed like I did at MIS. Trying to tram it into a hole that wasn't there. Caused me to get tight with a little bit of contact. 2 weeks, going to go to the Tigers game Wednesday afternoon against the D-backs. There you go. That going to be your first game of the year? Live? Yeah, I'd definitely like to get to a couple more for the end of the season. I've been to 2 games this year. One in Houston and one in Detroit. Might be able to get some cheaper tickets towards the end of the season if they clinch the playoffs a little early. Which they should, because they got a massive lead in the division. That last week or two, they feel like might be resting some guys, get some decent, save some decent.
Still hanging on. Let's go get another one. The 110 car has a run. Watch them to make a move. Okay, we're clear. Keep digging. Pick up about 3 seconds on the leader.
I pull out of line. It is so hard to make the pass. The car's free too, so I'm kind of wiggling as I'm down on the bottom of the racetrack. I can't run super tight to the car to my outside, but I do try to make any passes. Back the corner entry up a little. Oh, that worked out a ton. I was utilizing the draft as much as I could on the outside. Just going to be able to clear Montoya off of turn 4. I believe the first race we had earlier in the season was a day race, and this is a night race. I don't know if that's going to really do much in the video game side of things, but especially with an older game like this. Should have a little bit more grip than maybe what I did earlier this year, although I freed it up quite a bit. I must have been super tight in the first race if I finished 20th, but because the setup I had in it right away, I didn't even roll off with that, and I still felt a little bit tight. These corners are kind of deceiving, though, because even when I wasn't in the draft behind anybody in practice, I had a tendency to kind of sail it off a little bit too deep on corner entry. I mean, I'll take the fact I'm up to 25th already, though, in 9 laps. That's 18 positions gained from the start of the race already. Here's David Stremme, who got by me a little earlier and pulled right past. Ran side by side for too long through the corner, held each other up. That starting to lose these group of cars up ahead of us. Need to clear them through 1 and 2, which we should be able to do for 24th. All clear. I'm also curious to know what this car is going to handle like when we get 30 to 40 laps on our tires, because it's probably not going to be fun for me. I might have to make some adjustments if it gets too free on the long run. Really trying to do what I can to not make contact with anybody so I don't have any sort of a loose moment and burn the rear tires up even more. Just got passed by Stremme again. Trying to bump draft him. There we go. Caught up to the group of cars now. Oh boy. Big time run. Well, that actually worked out rather well. Right when we were starting to lose him, just push him down the back straightaway, and we caught right up, just like that. It was a massive run. Concert tickets in Nashville next weekend. And Indy tickets. There you go. Got the Indy tickets for your parents. You got Tigers tickets for yourself. Oh, you got you. So you're going to be at a concert, a NASCAR race, and a Tigers game in the span of a couple weeks. That's a pretty good. It's a pretty good week. Harvick's probably going to get by us. It's all right. They get underneath me. I just got to be patient, let them go. So easy for other cars to get a massive run in the draft. And on the other hand, it's easy for me to not keep up as much in the draft if I don't get a great run. MotoGP Merchant, thanks for tuning in. And they're almost 4 wide up here. Don't wreck. That's all I ask. Well, we've got a big run in the tri-oval now. 3 wide. Here we go. If I can clear these guys to my outside, it's going to be 3 positions. Don't overdrive it. Don't overdrive it. I overdrove it. Keep it off the wall. Man, I sailed that baby in there. I wanted everything. I wanted all 3 spots. Are we 4 wide right now? I know we're at least 3 wide. Oh, we're not even 3 wide. We're side by side. Well, why was he... He should have been more to the bottom. Pinching my line away. Playing that defensive NASCAR. Had a fun little race so far. Got back by Kevin Conway for 20th. Big run on Clint Boyer. He tried to block me. Oh, I got a block. Oh my gosh, look at that run Kevin Conway had. My goodness. I don't know if that's because Boyer held me up too much. Should be able to cross Conway over here. There we go. That was beautiful. Got him right back. Drove it in too deep. Stay behind Harvick for as much as I can. Draft away from Conway. Harvick's quick. I'd have to just follow him for a little bit. Oh boy. Oh boy. Back it up. Back it up. Back up the entry. Harvick's going 3 wide. I thought he was going to sneak underneath Boyer. He did not. Sometimes they stack up at the end of the straightaways, and then sometimes they just get such a massive run at the end of the straightaway that I can't hold on in front of cars that I already passed. I mean, this is a legitimate pack race, it feels like. You get runs down these straightaways. I got to watch the rearview mirror as much as I'm watching the windshield because there's guys coming up from behind me trying to make passes as well. Inside lane stacking up a bit. Oh, look at that. The middle line was really stacking up more than anything. I didn't want to be in it. Just got to pick a lane and hold it. Pick a lane, hold it, hope for the best. So easy when I pull out a line and there's nobody else to draft off of when I pull out a line to just have that run that I did have die immediately. And it kind of does that on the super speedways on this game too, which is why it's so hard to pass at Daytona and Talladega. Matthew Dorta Bruno, thanks for tuning in. What? How do I have fresher tires than a couple of the guys in front of me? We haven't pitted yet. Everybody has not pitted. Three wide underneath Casey Mears, Kevin Harvick. About a second off the lead. Challenging for 13th, I do believe. 12th, actually. Great corner, even with kind of being pinched on the inside a little bit. Clint Boyer keeping our run up. He follows to get by everybody as well. Look at that. Get them both. Let's go. I'd be able to get Hornish on the front stretch, too. Not tailing off of David Reagan. He was too far ahead of me. Yeah. Block J.J. Yaley. Low entry. Hornish not giving me a lot of room because he was trying to make a pass, too. Oh, man, he's holding me so tight. Every time I think he's going to move up, he just hangs on the right rear. I had to stay low. That was a guessing game to tell when he was going to actually drive up off the corner. Dale Jr.'s got a swarm of cars right behind him. Look at this gaggle. Oh! I was trying to follow Jeff Burton. I found Hornish a little late. I almost turned myself into the infield. Oh, man. By the time I saw him too late. He was in my blind spot in the rear view. And he had a run. I had no idea he was there. That's where the spotter needs to come in and start talking to me. So I can't do everything myself. Be nice to say you got a car low. That Kenseth making the 3 wide moves now. Big run on Jeff Burton in the 29. Yeah, I pulled out a line. There was nobody that was low enough underneath him for me to get that run off of. What a mess. It's controlled chaos is what this is. I haven't seen anybody necessarily out of control yet. Other than that near moment I had with Hornish just a couple seconds ago. Imagine we can only go around 40 laps on a full tank of gas. So it's definitely going to be a 3-stop race, which I expected coming in. Got into the back of Casey Kane. Almost spun out. Blocking Hornish again. Don't want to lose any spots because of that. That's a late concert. Is that when the opening act goes on, or? Most of the concerts I go to, they start at like 6 or 7 local time. Even 7's kind of late. Most of the concerts I've been to start at like 5:30, 6, 6:30, somewhere around there. Do you think that's 8 Eastern time? Because Nashville's in a central time zone. So then it starts at like 7 local. Whoa. Denny was not going to give me any room there. Up by Dale Jr. Up into the top 5 for the first time. All right, we'll pass Denny on the outside. There we go. Follow Casey Kane, give him a push. Casey's got to run. Denny sailed it in on our outside. I was trying to back the corner up so I could get a run after Matt Kenseth. So I knew that me and Casey Kane had a lot of speed there. Now Casey's going for the lead on Jeff Burt. Up to 3rd. Trying to give him a push, but he doesn't want to go for it right now. Side draft Kenseth a little. Oh, that's more than a side draft. Come on, get clear, get clear. There we go. Casey Kane blocking off Jeff Burton. That cut his momentum off. Come on, go. Make this pass. Get the second. Stay in line right behind Casey Kane. Get a nice pull on him. Good thing Casey ran the inside off turn 4. All right, now it's 1v1. Try to back the corner up as much as I can. Then get the draft down the straightaways. He's blocking the inside. It's definitely not going to make this very easy for me. I'm getting the left sides down to the apron still at this point in the run, especially through 3 and 4. Dang it, got an ant on me. Again, how many times? I had $1 for every time I said that. I probably have about $5. Did I get him? Yep, there he is. Got him. He's about to get the burial at sea. I would say that that'll teach him, but it hasn't taught him yet. 8 local, 9 Eastern. Jeez. Yeah, that's a late concert. Nick Smith. I don't know who that is. Is that a country singer? I would imagine it's probably country because he said it was in Nashville. I guess, I mean, they have concerts going on all the time in Nashville, so there probably isn't as many acts playing in one show. It's probably just 2 acts then. They probably have concerts like every night, country-wise there. Somebody's blowing an engine. We've got to run after Casey Kane again, kind of looking to the outside. See, this is where it gets tough. It's trying to pass the car at the clean air, because I kind of need somebody to draft off of to actually make a pass. Trying to slip to the inside of Casey Kane here, off of turn 4, side by side. Can we lead our first lap at the line? Yes, we will. And clear as well. Clear and to the lead. Now, how long can we hold on for it, or are we going to be a sitting duck pretty quick? I'll tell you what, 29 laps, last to first, I'll take that. What a drive. That was some good racing to get up there, too. After the concert, you're going to drive to Indy? That's a late night. I would just wait until the next day at that point. I know it's not too far. Probably about 3 or 4 hours. Probably closer to 4 hours if I had to guess. I think St. Louis to Indy is about 3. And I was coming back home. That concert's probably not going to get done till like 10 or 11 o'clock. Four and a half. That was close. Yeah, if you're going to the tracks, that would make sense because Speedway, Indiana is west of Indianapolis. All right, well, the good news is I got to the lead, and we're quick enough to hold on to it. Now we got to be relying on the pit crew, which I will say the pit crew has been a lot better in the Busch and the Truck Series compared to our Cup Series pit crew with Casey Kane. I mean, it's nice you got stops along the way, though. That breaks that drive up quite a bit from down south. Makes things easier on the traveling side of things. Sleep schedule isn't getting too out of whack. Sounds like a fun trip, though. I'd like to go to Indy. If I do, I'd end up going with my grandpa, because I know I mentioned something to him when I was at Michigan. I'll have to wait and see, though. Because Monday Night Raw is in Detroit the next night. And I'm definitely going to that with a buddy of mine. So that the logistics of going to both of those, I'll have to wait and see. Actually pulling away from the pack, which I'm shocked. I thought I was going to have to play a lot more defense. I'm way quicker this time around than what I was the last time we raced at California, because I barely led any laps and finished 20th, which again was our worst finish of the season for the Busch Series. So I made the right adjustments with the practice laps that I had and with qualifying, that even though I qualified poorly, I thought that there's a chance I'd have something for the race. I knew the long run speed was going to be questionable still, just because I don't run a full fuel run in practice, but when the tires fade and having a looser setup on the start, can I take care of my tires? And I did for the most part. I barely made contact with any cars, and nothing that really got me sideways or anything like that. So taking care of the rears is the big thing to have to do in these situations. Just gotta hope that when we cycle out of the pits, we take care of our tires there and hopefully keep the lead. Knowing that it's a pretty easy three-stop race, I think it'd be more beneficial for me to be of the cars pitting first, because I feel like whenever I pit late, I always give up a ton of track position, and there's really no dire need for me to lead a ton of laps in this race. It's different yesterday in the Cup race at Chicagoland, because I was literally just trying to lead as many laps as I could in case I had to get the most laps led to try to clinch that chase berth earlier in the race. But our strategy here, knowing that we're going the full distance, is we're going for the win. Yeah, no, I'd definitely like to, though. If I did, I'd only be there on Sunday. Because I know when we did talk about it, it was going to be go there Sunday and then just stay Sunday night. It's easier for me to get stuff uploaded from the track a lot quicker, too, because I got a 4-hour drive back home. And I went to Indianapolis with him for the Indy 500 a few years ago. I had a 4-hour drive back home, but it took like 2 hours to get out of Indy, so 4 hours turned into 6 hours real quick, and I couldn't actually get the stuff uploaded until about the end of the Coke 600. I think by the time I got everything uploaded, they were in the fourth and final stage of the race, which is far after the Indy 500. The sooner I can get the stuff uploaded, people view it a lot sooner. The longer I wait till after the race, gets a lot less views, unfortunately. It's kind of what happened with the upload that I had of the Xfinity Series finish on the channel, too. Alright, we're getting pretty light on fuel. I'm going to pit this time. And we're going to be of the first group of cars coming in because we're going to pull a lot of cars with us, as our crew chief just stated. No adjustments, 4 tires and a full tank of Sunoco race fuel. So lap 38, I just hit pit road. Doubleblog5, thanks for tuning in. Going to Detroit right after the race. Yeah, my grandpa's just old. He just, I think he doesn't, he's fine with not driving 4 hours back immediately after the race. Yeah, you'll probably end up going through Toledo, I'm sure. Probably take the same way back to, you know, that way in Detroit. You got to get up to speed in a good spot here. Able to make a pass on Casey Mears as we're getting up to speed. Had a couple of cars cycle out in front of us, but at least I know the car's quick. We should be able to catch up eventually. 4-stop race. I don't think so. It should be a pretty easy 3-stopper. I mean, we went 38 laps. We didn't have a caution. I mean, I have 4 sets of tires. So for some reason, it did turn into a 4-stopper. But, no, it should be 3 stops easily. Speed glitch. Cars coming out of the pits. See, that hurts my deficit. That's why I short pitted. So I feel like me being on the tail end of that, it's not as bad. Alright, well, Paul Menard cycled out into the lead. Our teammate of all drivers. I definitely could have went at least 1 lap further on fuel. I honestly feel if we end up catching a caution and we get about halfway through a fuel run, I think I'm going to pit, even though everybody else will probably stay out, because we pretty much have to run each run to the very end to make this 3 stops without making it 4. But we should easily be able to do that if it went green the whole way. Now, we have had 1 caution-free race in the Busch Series, and I think we had 1 or 2 of them in the trucks. We just haven't had any in the Cup Series yet, so I'm not going to doubt that this race would go caution-free. Actually, I think Michigan was one of the races that did go caution-free in the Busch Series, when we finished 15th. Yeah, 3 stops is tight, but we should make it. We should be about 2 laps to the good on the final run. And I could probably go 39 laps. I just wanted to be of that first group of cars that pitted. So I pitted at lap 38 instead. But yeah, even if we went 38 the whole time, we'd be a couple laps to the good at the end. Only thing that could screw us out of that is if we caught a caution with like 2 to go and had a green-white checker and went past the scheduled distance, but otherwise we should be good.
Alright, you're 3 seconds off the lead. Stay down, you'll catch her.
Catch some of these cars in front of us. Might be able to utilize the draft a bit. Eventually end up catching Paul Menard and everybody else in front of us. We'll probably end up packing together at some point just because that's how the draft works here at California. Not quite close enough to get that pole off of Casey Mears yet. Give me that draft. pulling low to break it? He must have been, because he wasn't close enough to try to make a pass on anybody in front of him. Trying to back the corner up. It's a lot harder to do that, though, because I'm already not going as fast. Mike Wallace just made a pass for the lead. I think that's the first time he's led today. And out in front of our buddy Paul Menard. I guess so. There we go. Casey Mears doesn't have drafting help. Hornish was right in line on the 29, and the 29 was getting a pull up to 17, and Mears got passed on the high side by Burton. And now Burton's got to run to carry underneath the Kenseth, and I think he's going to be able to clear him. Yeah, we'll end up packing back up again. Oh boy, they're 3 wide. I backed out of it just in case they wrecked. Backing up the entry to the corner actually worked. I might make a pass out of it. There we go. Got by Hornish. Draft behind Burton. Pull out of line a little bit there. Oh, no, Burton's pulling out. All right, I'll go with you. Give you a little push. Kyle Lance, thanks for tuning in. Yep, the OTC is back. I'm kind of shocked. I would have expected him to show up much sooner than he did if he was going to be at SummerSlam, but I guess he's back. All right. It's kind of weird that there's shaping up to be 2 tag team matches with no titles on the line. Jay and Roman end up tagging against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and then the Jelly Roll tag match too. Neither one of those are going to be for the tag titles, so if they end up having the tag titles on the line at some point, then that's going to be another... That'd be insane if they have 2 tag team matches at SummerSlam, probably one each night, and neither one of them are for the title, and they have the titles defended on like SmackDown or Raw instead. And I can see them doing that, because they probably don't want to flood the card with tag team matches. Kind of sucks for the tag division, but what are you going to do, I guess?
One second back.
All right, group of 3 up ahead is Paul Menard, Mike Wallace, and Casey Kane, excuse me. Wrong Casey. Casey with the K, not the C. I think there's just 1 car out of the race with an engine failure early on. 2 of them, actually. One Pablo Montoya and David Stremme. Oh, boy. It's already a tough race for Chip Ganassi. These ECR engines are not holding on very well. Not tonight. Watch Reed Sorensen be next. That'd be terrible. The trifecta. The trifecta of engine failures. Casey's losing these top 2 up here. Kind of need that, though, so I can get close enough to catch some draft and actually reel him back in. He's finally getting a pull off of Mike Wallace. Getting a slight pull off of him this time through the tri-oval. Better than the last couple of laps. He's going to push Wallace to the lead past Menard. And he also got by Menard himself. All right, now let's see if we can get a pull off of our teammate. Now Menard and Casey are going to go low. Going with you, Paul. Never mind. Casey threw a block, and I didn't know if he was going to check up, and I wanted to stay on the throttle, so I moved high and out of the way. Dang. Want to work with him, but he's not making a move for himself, so I might have to just pass him. Casey went a little bit wide, but he's not able to sneak to the inside. All right, my turn. But now I don't have any drafting help. Oh, I kind of do. Side draft Paul, get him out of the draft a little. Orange has a run behind me. Don't take me 3 wide, Sam, please. I got to cover the bottom. I'm afraid he was going to try to do something there. I didn't want to get put 3 wide middle going into 1. Kane and Mike Wallace. I hope they stay side by side here. I'll draft behind Mike Wallace, try to give him a pull. There we go. Get them both. Look at this. Come on, baby. Oh. Couldn't quite hang with Casey Kane. I tried. Took me a couple laps to get by Kane the last time I was up with him. There's a miniature hole there. At least the apron's got a little bit of grip here in Fontana. All right. Not clear. Back the entry up. There we go. Let's go. Second time we've led tonight. We gotta hold on. Kenseth and Kane side by side. Gotta protect the bottom. Probably pull out of the lead on every green flag stop. I would imagine just the way the speed glitch was that outlap for us. So try to lead as many laps as we can. Hopefully get a max point stay if we win. I'm trying to make my job of clinching the title much easier at Richmond tomorrow. Possible. Mathematically, I cannot clinch the championship today, so we will end up running the Richmond race tomorrow. I pulled out to about a 1.2 second lead before. Yeah, third car on pit road. Is it Reed Sorensen is the question. I kind of hope it is, just for the hilarity of it, that all 3 Ganassi cars would be out of the race already. Noah Howe's out. And Kevin Conway. Noah Howe just blew a motor then. We actually have 4 cars. He must be slow somewhere on the track. Yeah, Scooble seems to pitch a lot of day games. I would imagine that's probably just the luck of the draw, you know, what day of the week it falls on in the rotation. But I noticed he pitches a lot of day games. It was like that last season, too. So you going up to a game in the afternoon, maybe you'll get lucky and see a Scooble game. I guess it depends on when exactly he ends up pitching next. Because he's supposed to start the All-Star game. I'd imagine he'll probably only pitch 1 inning, but even still, he would have at least had something there, so he might not pitch that first game back from the All-Star break. It might be the second or third game of the series. Smooth sailing, yeah, so far. Halfway through the fuel run. Try to put this car a lap down now. Federico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Sunday? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, even though it's only one inning, they're going to take it easy with him. Especially having a massive lead on the division. It's not like they have to rush him out, try to get him in as many games as I can. That's the nice thing with having this big of a lead is, you know, you don't have to start him every 5 days. You can start him maybe every 6. Give him just a little bit more rest and keep that arm fresh, so that way when you get to the playoffs and you're taxing him, you know, potentially 3 times in a 7-game series, he doesn't have as many total innings on him going into the playoffs. By our first lapper pretty easily. That's the first natural lap car I've caught the whole race. We haven't had a caution up to this point. Lap 61 of 150. We're at about 90 to go. In a 3-stop race. Everybody's pitted once so far. Jackson Thomas, thanks for tuning in. I wonder if I can throw this lead out by more than 1.2 seconds like I had the last time. I mean, it took me 29 laps to get to the lead last time, and I got to the lead on this run, obviously being 8th when I cycled out of the pits helped versus starting dead last. But I got out in front before we hit halfway out of gas, so that had to have been within the first 20 laps of the run. Already 1.2 seconds out ahead. We got another car blowing an engine. That's 5 cars that have had an engine failure in the first 62 laps. We're on pace to have double-digit DNFs tonight. Engines are being taxed, these long straightaways. It's kind of crazy, though, for a Busch race, because it's not like it's a 500-mile cup race here. Hey, Jax, it's all right, man. Appreciate you still tuning back in every once in a while. I mean, that's the reason you got up, you know, on the moderator side of things to begin with. Just because anybody's a mod, it doesn't mean that I expect you to necessarily be here every night. You know, that's just it's more for just chat control, I guess, if things were to somehow get out of hand. But we really don't have that issue on the video game streams anyway, so not really enough people that watch on a nightly basis that I really need mods, I guess, for these streams. Christopher McComas, thanks for tuning in. West Virginia native. Not get a caution at all. Got to stay in front of the 8 and the 17. So I think I've actually clinched the title over Kenseth already. I think Dale Jr. mathematically is the only one that has a shot at the title still. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't really monitored where he's at much in this race. Further behind me he finishes, the more likely we are to clinch the title at Richmond. It's not going to be as easy as what it was for me to clinch a chase spot last night in Chicagoland. I'll probably end up having to finish in the top 20 at Richmond, but I'd like to think I can do that pretty easily. I don't remember where I ran at Richmond in the first race there earlier in the season. I'd imagine we raced there already. At least once. And that's in second. Fourth now. Probably was in second. Dale Jr. is... Man, Dale's outside of the top 10. Which, if I remember back to Michigan when I finished 15th, I'm pretty sure I beat Dale Jr. by a couple positions that day, and he finished outside the top 15. So, I've been struggling at these 2-mile tracks on this game pretty mightily. Outside of the Truck Series at Michigan, I won that race. But the Busch race at Michigan, all 3 series at California, and then the Cup race at Michigan, I ran out of gas. I've had a brutal time with these 2-mile ovals on NASCAR 08, but nice to have a change of a pace here and actually have a race-winning car. So hopefully I can finally get it done on the Busch Series side of things. I'll have to wait till next season on the Cup Series before I get another crack at a 2-mile oval again. Since we clinched the chase early, we won't race that second race at California, but I plan on the custom schedule seasons are going to make my most difficult tracks across all 3 series, all of the playoff races, since we're doing a playoff format. So although the regular season at times might feel a little too easy, especially on the Truck Series side of things where I dominate, and the Busch Series for that matter, the playoffs in particular are going to be a lot harder on me. A lot of the road courses are kind of wild cards, so I have a lot of road races in the playoffs. The super speedways in the Cup Series are tough, so I do have a Daytona and Talladega race, both in the playoffs there. Their second race for both of them. I'm only going there twice on each season. But I'm not going to do that for the Truck Series schedule, just because for whatever reason the trucks are way too easy on the super speedways. But not as much with the Busch and the Cup Series. Particularly the Busch Series at Talladega. Daytona was easy for the Busch side, but Talladega, I barely led any laps to finish 4th. So I've actually already created the schedules. Tracks I haven't been to yet, I'm trying to test the drivability out. Like Chicagoland actually felt kind of tough for the first half of that Cup race yesterday, so I'm probably going to end up having that in the chase. Or the playoffs, I guess. Because we're using the updated format. I'll be keeping track of points myself. Obviously, you'll know what the points look like race in and race out, because I'll have that scrolling at the top of the screen like usual. And the seasons are going to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to have 30 races for the Cup Series, so we can only hit each track once outside of Daytona and Talladega. I think I have an extra Bristol race in there. There's like 3 or 4 tracks that I put 2 dates on there. I'm not going to do any of the fantasy oval tracks like I originally planned, just because if I ran them all, then there was going to be some actual tracks that I wasn't going to be able to run at all, and they don't have all of the Cup fantasy tracks ovals. Like, they don't have Tiburon Raceway, which is the old Dodge Raceway for some reason. The old Meadow Creek, they don't have that for the Cup Series on this game. It's kind of weird that they limited. They have, I think, all of the road races still. They might be missing one. The weird thing is they actually have 2 fantasy road courses for the Busch and the Truck Series, one of which we did not race on the season yet, but the New York Metro Raceway, the one that basically is a street race in downtown New York, they have that on this game for the Truck and the Busch Series, which was not the case on the earlier EA games before this. So that's going to be interesting. So I put that in the playoffs because I have no clue how that's going to go. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Like I said, I tried to make it as challenging as I could, putting the most difficult races at the end of the season. So, you know, that way I don't go out there and win like the first race of the round. And if I do, it'll be because I challenged myself in doing so. Play as Kyle Petty as well. That will also make things tough. Yeah, you guys are going to get to vote for who I'm going to race as in all three series again. So we're in B-tier equipment with Casey Kane right now. And we got the #1 seed for the current chase, the updated points format for 2007. So it might be more difficult if I have less than B-tier equipment. If you guys put me in A-tier equipment in the Cup Series, I'm kind of curious to know if those tracks that I struggled on with Casey Kane, if I'm going to be significantly better. Which could also make it easier. And there's quite a few A-tier drivers I've not raced as yet that you guys haven't voted for me to race as in the Cup Series. I haven't raced as Kevin Harvick yet. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart I haven't raced as. I can't remember if I've raced as Matt Kenseth or not. I don't think I have. I'd have to go back and look before I create the chat polls, which those will start pretty soon. So you have to be on the lookout in the community tab, because we'll end up wrapping up the Cup Series next week. So that means probably next weekend, not this weekend, but the following weekend, we'll end up doing the season openers for each series. F-tier equipment. I don't even know if it's F. I don't know if it's F-tier or like D-tier. It's pretty bad though. Yeah, that'll be a challenge too. I'm up for a challenge though. All right, I'm going to pit this time by. We've got some cars hitting pit road. We're going to try to go this extra lap this time instead of pitting with the first group. See if that does anything different for us, potentially cycling back out in the lead. So we're going to pit this time at lap 77. It'll be our second stop of the day. We're 2 laps past halfway. So again, we should be able to make this thing on 2 stops the rest of the way. And one more after this. Coasted on into the pits. Take it easy. We had about a 2.5 second lead before entering the pits. Unlock stuff in medallions. Yeah, I have been. But there isn't many of them. I'm pretty sure I have everything unlocked for the Cup Series. Track-wise. Vroom, vroom. There we go. Yeah, I've still got beat by other drivers out of the pits. Like, how does that happen? We had a 2.5 second lead and we got guys beating us out of the pits. Like, on the same lap that we pitted as. Got some draft off of Sam Hornish Jr. Probably not wise to go up the middle. I backed out of it. Got to play smart here. By Casey Mears. Get in line, Sam. I'll let you in.
Go ahead and get on by. Not gonna block. Leaders are coming into pit.
Might have actually cycled out even further back than what I did the last time. Maybe it would have been better to pit with the first group. I tried something different to see if that would help. I actually think it made things worse, and I didn't think that was going to be that much possible. Why just play as the easy guys? It's not up to me. It's up to you guys. If you want me to race as Kyle Petty, you got to vote for it in the chat poll and hope that other people do the same. Just ran my fastest lap of the race. I overdrove. We got the speed glitch going on right now anyway. It's kind of weird that it took about 2 laps after I pitted before we had it this time. So I'm in 9th. I'm 1 spot worse than what it was the last time we cycled off pit road. Well, we'll try to get it back again. Yeah, I could probably start the chat polls tomorrow, honestly. Is this guy blowing up, or is he just leaving the pits? I think he's just leaving the pits. Yeah, I mean, because it takes like 4 or 5 days to get through it. We'll probably be a few races into the chase by then. I mean, if it ends like a week, if the chat polls end like a week early, it's not going to hurt anything. I haven't raced as Matt Kenseth yet, alright, so yeah, he'll be in the poll. I've definitely raced as Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, obviously now, Dave Blaney, Greg Biffle. They'll be off the list. Terry Labonte, but he's not in this game. Dale Jr. for the Cup Series. Might be missing one yet. Who did I race as in NASCAR 05? Was that the Jimmy Johnson season? 06 was Earnhardt. Yeah, 05 was the Johnson one then. I still feel like I'm forgetting one. Mark Martin. That's who I was forgetting. That was the NASCAR 07. Okay. Yeah, I've raced as Mark Martin as well. Got him his first championship. We're catching a slow car, I believe, off turn 4. It seems like this pack is starting to slow up and we're catching cars. I didn't think we had anybody down a cylinder, but it looks like we do. It's Juan Pablo Montoya, who did blow an engine earlier and is now back in the race. Got by one car because of that slowdown, and that was John Wood for 8th. Try to get by Casey Kane. I wanted to slide in there behind Harvick so I can get in the draft, but I was afraid I was going to clip the back into 21. Almost had too much of a run. There we go. Sail it wide so I can get the gas a little earlier and try to get my momentum back up in the tri-oval. Both of us had a huge run. Got by Harvick, got by Reagan, draft behind our teammate Menard, get by Hornish. 3 cars in about a half a lap there. Up to 4th now. Hamlin blocked Menard. Now Menard's blocking me. I got to back out early. I didn't want to tag him getting into the corner. Got a fast car. Don't want to wreck the speed out of it. Just got to take advantage of the runs at the right time. And that wasn't the right time. Later we get in the race, I think the more and more aggressive they're going to be with pinching me down. Because they have been a couple times already. Oh, I lifted right on corner exit. That's because Hamlin lifted. There we go. 3 wide for the lead. Can we get Denny? Yes, we did. Let's go, baby. Block all the way down. Harvick wasn't exactly there. Oh, boy. Then he got back to the outside for a brief moment. I'll give him the outside, though. He's going to get freight trained until we get to the straightaway. Harvick gets through to 2nd. How about that maneuver? Once Hamlin got up on the inside of the leader, I knew they were going to slow each other down enough that we're going to have a chance to make that move. Because I almost did that earlier on Casey Kane, and I can't remember who he was racing with. It might have been Mike Wallace, the last set of pit stops, and I was able to get by Wallace, but I couldn't quite clear Casey Kane up off the corner. That time I was able to clear everybody. Yeah, it is long. I do have a few 50% races, though, that I'm going to run. So I was planning on cutting down Boulder for the Busch Series in particular. And then cut down the New York Raceway for at least the bottom 2 series. And then some of those road courses for the Cup side are probably going to get cut down in half for that race length. Because those fantasy tracks on this game, and it was like that on some of the other EA games too. Some of them are just stupidly long. Like, I'm cutting Chicagoland in half because it's 600 miles on this game, so that's one. Just the stupidly long races I'm cutting. Those are the ones that are going to get cut in half. But yeah, New York Raceway. There was another one of them. I don't know if it was the Devil's Canyon Road course was like... There was, or maybe it was Dockside. I think it was Dockside, which is like a 1.5 mile road course. It kind of races like a street course. That was like 333 laps. I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. I'm not doing that on a road course. Like, that's just, I don't feel like sitting here for 6 to 7 hours. That's too long. Cut it in half, and it'll still be a normal 3-hour race. So I'm glad I looked at all the race distances when I was creating the schedule. I'll put out the schedule post when we get through the chat polls, or the driver polls in the community tab. $233. Maybe it was Devil's Canyon was... There was another one that was 300. And Boulder, I think, was definitely 300. Because that was like that when it was Old Spice Speedway in the earlier EA games. That was 333. Legitimately a 500-mile road course race. And 500 miles on an oval takes 3 to 3.5 hours. And on a road course, lap times are way slower. We're not running 30-second lap times. We're running, you know, even on a shorter 1.5 mile road course like that, our lap times are around 45, 50 seconds. An extra 15 to 20 seconds per lap with the same amount of laps, that adds up pretty quickly I mean, every 5 laps is going to be about another minute and a half longer than what it would have been on an oval. That's if we stayed green the whole time. As many cautions as we get on the road courses on these EA games, I would expect there to be some long races there. I checked up big time for Menard. I didn't think he was going to, or not Menard, sorry, Montoya. I didn't think he was going to move out of my way. Kind of stayed on the bottom for a while. I feel like if we end up catching a caution, it's going to be because Montoya backs everybody up and running significantly slower after having the engine problems earlier in the race. Yeah, Boulder Street 33. They were all pretty much long. The only one that wasn't as long was Speedway Boulevard, but that was also a longer road course. That was significantly shorter than like all the other ones in laps. But it might have been because the track was longer. Texas Infield, that was the other one that was like 333 laps. It's literally the same distance for laps as it is in the Cup race. I think it was 334. And then, but you're running a road course configuration and not the oval, so it's going to take quite a long time. Well, we got one more pit stop left in the race. As long as we get to about 38 to 39 laps to go, we'll be in our field window. And right now we got 55 laps left, so we're still a little over 15 laps out from the pit window opening to make it to the end of the race. .226, I could have swore it was over 300 laps. I still want to know why the road courses are so long. Like, why are we doing 226 laps on a road course? Like, the most that NASCAR has right now is Sonoma at 110. The Oval's about 109 every year. And we're like doubling and tripling that? No way. I don't care if it's only a half mile shorter of a road course. It's not that much shorter to run 2 to 3 times as many laps. Like, by that logic, if it was a nearly 2-mile road course like Sonoma, we're running 3 times as many laps, then the track would have to be a third of the size of what it actually is. So you mean to tell me that Sonoma, or that road course that we running on is only 3/4 of a mile long? Yeah, get out of here. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe I'll leave one of them long just for the hell of it. And then just find a 50% race elsewhere. Like a 500-mile, like, normal Texas race or something. Dale Campbell, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, 90 laps at Watkins Glen. That's quite a bit. But that, I mean, although it's a nearly 2.5-mile road course, there's only 7 turns, a lot of long straightaways, so it's pretty fast. Their lap times are like barely over a minute. Because when that race only had 1 caution when they took out the stage yellows a couple years ago, I think it timed in at about an hour and a half. Like, it was a really short race. Well, it might not have been an hour and a half. It was less than 2 hours, though. I can confirm that. Because that and Indianapolis were like almost the same distance back-to-back weeks, and the Indy road course was 82 laps, and both those races timed in at about 2 hours or less. They were very fast Cup races. All right, 50 to go this time by. Indy Road Course was caution free. They had one yellow. They had one caution, and then the Watkins Glen race had one yellow. And what happened, I got to get my facts right here. One of them had a caution at the very beginning of the race, and the other one had a caution at the very end of the race. And I think the Watkins Glen race, it was towards the end. Whatever one they raced at the week before, they had a caution early, and the other one, it was late. But they went like over a race and a half combined. If you combine the two races together, caution free. Because of how spaced out the yellows were between the two races. I remember they were back-to-back weeks, but I don't remember which one was which. I think Watkins Glen was second, so I think that was the one that had the late yellow. Indy Road Course caution free. It definitely wasn't caution free. Oh, I reread the same comment. My bad. I thought you posted it a second time. Yeah, they both only had one yellow. I think Montoya's the next car up there. Yeah, he definitely is Montoya because he's super slow. Get some draft off of him. Hopefully we catch him in the tri-oval here. And plenty of room to get by him to the inside. Last time I caught him in the corner, and it was a little tight because he didn't give me a whole lot of room. I wanted to keep the car down to the bottom because at that time the leaders behind me were right there. Didn't really pull away much. So I had about a 2.5 second lead when we had our green flag pit stop the last time. I still cycled out back in 9th. Whatever lap we end up hitting, we're going to end up cycling behind everybody. We've clearly got a fast enough car to make the time back up again in the later portion of this race. So I'm not worried about it. See some smoke. Turns 3 and 4 up here. Almost had our first caution, whoever it was. We're still a little bit outside of the fuel window. 45 laps to go at the line. Well, if we end up catching a debris caution at some point, or we do get a wreck, it'll make things interesting. Especially if it came out right about now, because I feel like I would have to stay out because I know I can't make it on fuel. Even if we're only a couple laps short. I wonder if somebody tries to risk it. There were some guys that could make it closer to 40 laps. I think I can only go 39. I would have to back my pace off quite a bit. Maybe try to stretch at 40. Catching up to Dale Jr. Man, he is having a very, very poor performance today. You know, I mentioned he finished outside the top 15 at Michigan on the last 2-mile oval, but this is even worse. I don't have a lot of cars a lap down, so if he's about to lose a lap, he's not running good. Should be able to clear him up off turn Or I'm going to give him room. I think he's... Okay. Spotter called me clear, but I'll still give him room. I'll clear high when we get off of turn 2. Just clinched the most laps led already. With about 43 laps to go. So 10 bonus points. I want to see where Dale Jr. is running. He's in 22nd. I've lapped way more cars than I thought I did. I guess with this race going caution-free, I probably could have expected that. We've had quite a few engine failures, too. And I'm counting I keep saying Paul Menard. Well, Pablo Montoya. I'm counting him in that only because he's many laps down with how slow he is after being in the garage for a significant amount of time. We're coming back out on the track. Yeah, he's in 39th. Though I will say all 5 of those guys that had the engine problems were all in the first, what was that, 61 or 62 laps? So we haven't had an engine failure in over 50 laps now. We were pacing to have double digits there for a while. Got a tickle my nose. I had to hold a sneeze back a couple minutes ago. Probably got to sneak up on me one of these times here in the next few minutes. Denny Hamlin's up to second. Around the pit window. Yeah, we catch a caution now. I think I have to pit. Now we're getting too close not to pit. Especially by the time we get the restart after a few caution laps. Lapped another car, so now Dale Jr. isn't even in the free pass position anymore. He's quite a ways behind the 21st place car. Stink if a sneeze would ruin the race. Yeah, I'll try to pause it if I end up catching it. I've almost wrecked before because I would sneeze in the middle of a turn. Keep him a lap down, trap him outside the top 20. We'll have to see what our points deficit's going to be, or his points deficit will be after the race is over. I'll try to gauge where exactly I have to finish tomorrow before we leave the stream tonight to clinch the title at Richmond. Which would be 7 races early by the time we finish the Richmond race. I think I clinched the truck title 5 races early. But this season's also 10 races longer, so being just as dominant, if not more dominant, because I think I had a DNF in the truck series, but I haven't in Busch. I think this is the only series I haven't had a DNF in. We had 1 in Cup, 1 in the trucks. But we have not DNF'd or really finished outside the top 20. So again, our first race at California, we finished 20th, and that was the worst run I had. I swear, if you guys, like after the stream's over or even during, if you go back to that first California race we had in the Busch Series, I swear the car was not handling anywhere near this much. You can see how much improvement I've made with this game in particular. And not only dialing the setup in, but just racing the game. Because every game is just a little bit different from the other one. Even on these EA games that kind of seem like copy and paste and you get to like 08 and 09. I guarantee there's still going to be some things I'll have to work on in NASCAR 09. The car just drives a little bit different from the other one. There's a slight learning curve, especially when you play it often enough. Got some cars exiting pit road here. I'm going to pit this time by. Got exactly 35 laps to go, so we're well within the window to make it to the end. Our tire wear is held on for the most part. I mean, our tires are in the yellow on the tire wear indicator, but the grip level feels pretty good in them. We've got 3.5 seconds over second this time. It was 2.5 the last, but it's not going to matter. I guarantee not going to come out with the lead. Trying to be a little bit more aggressive coming into the pits this time. I was. So try not to give up as much time as that, but I still probably will. A lot of it, we get a speed glitch on the other side of it. Thank you for everybody being patient in the chat. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Trying to be a little bit more aggressive coming into the pits this time. I was. .67. Yeah, speed limit's 70. Picker didn't make any mistakes in the first couple stops. There may be a little bit slow, but it wasn't bad. Alright. Well, there's nobody in front of us. That's a first. Might end up catching us with the speed glitch when we do get it, but so far, so good. Dale Jr. did lead laps early in the race because he qualified pretty well, so I know he definitely got 5 bonus points earlier. A lot of cars a lap down right now because Matt Kenseth hasn't pit yet. Imagine the rest of the field will pit this time. Yeah, we catch any cautions. I'm definitely staying out of the pits to the end of the race. We've got a quick car. And Sorensen down on the bottom. To third. Kenseth stayed out another lap. Watch him run out of gas, and that's going to be our first caution. If we had a yellow right now, there'd be so many cars a lap down. I think we'd have single-digit car count on the lead lap. Oh, it's Danny Oakland Jr. and Matt Kenseth. You got 2 17 cars that are staying out. It's like they got the same crew chief, too. Oh, here comes a speed glitch. Look at that! I mean, he had to have been like 20 to 30 miles an hour faster than me in the middle of the corner. I wasn't even going to block it. If I would have tried to block that, he would have wrecked me. Just let him go. I'll get him back. We got plenty of time. Might even get another one yet. I had a couple seconds on him. Well, I would have cycled out in the lead if it wasn't for that. I don't know if Denny Hamlin's led or not yet, but if he leads this time by at the line, which he should, because we have another speed glitch going on, so Reed Sorensen just passed us too. Well, it's glitchy when I'm getting passed on the outside when I have like the fastest car in the field. Block John Wood. I got my momentum cut off when Sorensen blocked me. Oh, we got more trouble. Look at that. Smoke in turns 3 and 4 again. It's the second time we've seen that. And both times we're on that end of the racetrack. I mean, we could get a debris caution at some point if we get enough cars with damage. Or a legitimate caution if NASCAR decides to throw a yellow for a wreck. 30 to go. We had a caution with 10 laps to go in a 400-mile Pepsi 400 at Daytona on Sunday. And that was the only caution of the race. So we went 150 laps green out of 160 to start. There could be similar to that here today. Well, that was a legitimate wreck. I'm surprised we didn't get any debris cautions on the back burner of that because it was a pretty violent wreck. And all three cars that were in it were still in the race. A little leanage on Sorensen. Up to second. That's some draft off of Denny. Go get him. Go get him, Truex. There we go. Easy. Too easy. He's committed to just blocking the bottom. I know Sorensen had to run up high, but then I saw the fourth place car kind of dive out behind the 41, so he didn't have as much help anymore. 28 laps to go. That's the official lead change there, and we'll see if we stay green to the end of the race. I'll tell you what, the restarts here are probably going to be insane. Because they usually are at Fontana. And we've got quite a few cars a lap down, too, so that's going to stack up. It's going to be a fight just to try to get back to the bottom. Try to stay out of everybody's way. Doing more MLB The Show. I've been doing the GM mode on the WWE 2K25. And I finally beat the GM mode, at least on the trophies side of things. Now I need to try to win on the most fans, which is tough. So I haven't been able to do that under that win that way. I had a great start. I was in first place for a while in the last season, and then I fell all the way back to last of the four by the time the season ended, so I'm on season 2 of the current roster that I drafted. It was a pretty solid roster the first time around. I noticed when I won for the first time finally on the trophy side of things, I feel like when I drafted everybody, I tried to draft like solely main eventers, so they had a higher popularity. So I kind of would get the jump early and then stay out in front. So I did that the second time around, but I don't think I had enough, like, for instance, like I had all the legends on the roster that were unlocked to draft, and I was drafting a lot of those. I didn't draft as many legends this time around. It was mostly the main eventers that would currently be in the WWE, the active competitors. Road to the Show lately, I haven't touched it in about 2 weeks. Took a little break from it. Because I was doing a Road to the Show, and I took a break from the season I was doing with the Tigers, because I wanted to do one of those. If I had enough time, I would like to do another Road to the Show with a pitcher, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Because by the time I get done with the current Road to the Show, and then jump back on and finish that season with the Tigers, I'd like to get that done before baseball season's done. And I think by the time I finish all that and get around to it, it's going to be full into football season at that point. I'll probably end up playing the new NCAA game because I had a lot of fun with that last year. So, NASCAR 25 obviously is going to be coming out in the fall too, so we'll have a lot of NASCAR 25 content on the channel to pump through. Yeah, I'll be a little rusty when I get back to that Road to the Show because I took a couple weeks off. I think I've gotten to 400 career home runs now. So it's definitely a grind. I'm on my 10th season currently. So definitely pacing to get to the all-time record. The RBI record's going to be tough. Like if I play 20 seasons, I'm barely on pace for it, but I wonder if my player's going to regress at all as he gets older, and it's going to be harder to to hit essentially when I get into like my age, upper 30s, into the 40s. So I think right now I'm 31. So I'm like in my prime. That's why I've kind of really gone off the last couple of years. The RBIs is tough because it's like, yeah, I can get the home runs, but if there's nobody on base when I'm hitting the home runs and kind of driving in a lot of runs. Trying to break every record I can. I had my hit streak up to 42 and then I lost it. That sucked. That was the furthest I'd gotten. I've gotten above 20 a few times. Because then, usually the games I go hitless, I go like 0 for 2 because they intentionally walk me a lot now. So I'll get walked like 2 or 3 times in a game. I only have like 2 at-bats, and then I'll go like fly out, and ends my streak. Yeah, I can definitely get to 2,000 RBIs, but I just don't know if the player's going to regress as we get older. I've never played a Road to the Show like that deep into a career. Usually I just play long enough to... I either set it on like rookie or something and then like just go for the records like from the get-go, but I'm like legitimately trying to play this out on a harder difficulty, which I've never really tried to do before, and grind out the career mode, actually have like realistic stats for the most part every season. Yeah, hits record's going to be tough too. I'm up over 1,500, so I'll easily be able to get to 3,000, but 4,000, man, that's gonna be tough. Should juice like Bonds and McGuire. Yeah, there we go. That would help. My power's at 100. The problem is with the newer games, because I haven't had a newer MLB The Show game in a minute, is the PCI, which, like, when I would play on the PS2 on the old games, that didn't even exist. So my PCI placement is just terrible. I've gotten better at it because I've played the game enough now. But, yeah, when I first started my Road to the Show, for instance, and first started playing this, I wasn't even using it. And I was just focused on trying to get my timing down. And then focusing on getting the timing with that. A lot of people online make it a lot easier than it actually is. At least for somebody that, you know, doesn't play MLB The Show like on an annual basis. That was one of those sports games where I would have one, I would buy one when I was younger, or get one for my birthday or whatever it was, and I would just play that same one for a handful of years before I would get the next. Like, I probably only had like 5 or 6 MLB The Show games like over the course of my entire life. Because I had the original one for a while, and then I think 11, whatever year Joe Mauer was on the cover, that was the second one that I had, and that was the first one I had. No, I had the PSP version first, which was the original, because that was right when the PSP debuted. And I got the PSP, it came with the original MLB The Show, and I think it came with SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, and it came with a couple of games, but so that's when I played that stuff for the first time. Then I think I had 11. Then the year Miggy was on the cover. And then the only other one I had after that, I think, was the year Judge was on the cover, which was, what, 18? Or 19 or something like that? Then 21, and now the one I have currently. So yeah, I probably only played like 5 or 6 of them ever. The only games I would play on an annual basis were the NASCAR games when they would come out, and the Madden, because it always came out around my birthday like every year, so it was an easy birthday present for my parents. It was always like the weekend of, for the longest time, Madden was coming out, so, oh, what do you want for your birthday? And I'm like, oh yeah, I want Madden, whatever, because it was new, and football is probably my second favorite, you know, sport behind racing. Barry Bonds had a ton of walks, which cost him 3,000 hits. Yeah, Yeah, because his OPS is insane if you look at Baseball Reference. I mean, they were walking him with the bases loaded sometimes, depending on what kind of situation it is. If a team was up by like 3 runs, they'd be like, well, you know, he hits a homer here. We're down by 1 run late, so let's just walk in a run and then just try to get the double play ball to end the inning or something. Because that's more likely than actually trying to pitch at the guy and not having him kill us. It's insane. Imagine being that feared of a hitter. Ever played the 2K games when I was younger? Yeah, for the most part, I didn't. Whatever year they had Michael Jordan on the cover, I had that one on the PSP, and then I didn't have another one until like high school, probably 18 or 19, something like that. Well, it would have been earlier than that, probably 17. Probably 17. And then I think I had 17, 18, 19. I haven't had one since. It's one of those, I think I got it again because I played basketball and growing up and when I was in high school, so it's like, I don't know, just easy to play 2K, I guess, or, you know, you're learning stuff about the game more when you're playing it at a different level as you grow up, so I'm trying to implement that in the game a little bit. It kind of makes the game a little easier. But, I don't know. I've fallen out of watching basketball. Like I did not watch it. Like when I was in high school, I watched that probably as much, if not, well, I would say more than I would have watched football during football season. Because I probably watched it more actually. Because when NASCAR was on during football season, you know, just like I do now, I would watch NASCAR over football, and it wasn't really football season for me until NASCAR was done. So I probably watched more, you know, NBA, and I was watching a lot of college basketball at that time too. But then when I graduated and I didn't play anymore, and then when I broke my ankle later into my high school playing days, and just, I don't know, I just kind of rushed back from injury, and my agility was never the same, and I don't know, I just like, all that just kind of wore on me mentally, that just got tired of the sport. It has nothing to do with like changes they've made in the sport over the years or how much the game's changed. Like that has nothing to do with it because, like I said, when I was watching it the most was when I was in high school. So at that point, you know, Golden State was king at that point in time, just starting their dynasty really. And obviously, you know, being in the state of Ohio, LeBron going back to Cleveland and winning a title around that time period. And so I was getting a lot of, you know, fans into it. So basketball was kind of big around where I lived in general for that reason and stuff. And that probably playoff game, and I think that might be the last game I have ever gone to. That was the no. I went to a Pistons playoff game. That was 2018, and then I went to the home opener the next season, and then I think that was the last Pistons game I went to. So the 18-19 home opener. Unless I'm getting my years wrong, and then 19 was when they were in the playoffs, and then I went to the 19-20 home opener, because then COVID hit, and I just haven't been to another Pistons game since. I've been to the arena several times for like WWE shows, and I've been to a few Red Wings games, but yeah, I don't know, I just kind of fell out of it. And the Pistons were actually good this year, and I still didn't watch them much. I was keeping up with them, but I didn't actually watch a full game all season. I caught a little bit of the playoffs. I watched like the second half of a couple of the games, but that was it. I didn't watch a full game from start to finish all year. March Madness came around. I think I only watched a couple games in the first round, and that was it. I didn't watch the rest of the tournament. Heard it was good. Some close games in the Final Four. Could tell you what happened. quit watching after 2020. Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, it's no particular reason, really. I just kind of stopped watching it. I'll probably, I mean, if the Pistons are going to continue to trend upward like they did last year, I feel like I just have to start watching it again because, I mean, they haven't been competitive at all since I was been. I mean, yeah, they made the playoffs that 1 year, like I said, when I went to a game, but they also got swept in the first round by Milwaukee. That was cool, though, getting to see Giannis as he was first starting to break out, like, in the playoffs in person, because he went off on us that game. Like, he was making ridiculous plays on offense and defense, and I would just kind of, like, look around, and you just saw people, like, with faces like, oh my gosh, did he just do what he just did? Like, he had a couple of posterizers in that game, and I was like, oh boy, this was getting ugly. The atmosphere was awesome. Because I'd been to games before that. Usually, a lot of the games I've gone to have actually been pretty close. Fortunately. Like, as a fan going to games, even when they were bad and I would go to Pistons games, like, a lot of the games I would go to, they'd be down to the wire. But it's kind of like the fans are kind of sitting on their hands the whole game, and then you get to, like, the last 5 minutes of the game, and then it starts to ramp up. That playoff game, dude, every single basket the crowd was going nuts for. And that was the first Pistons home playoff game because it was game 3 of that series. That was the first home game they had in the playoffs in like 8 or 9 years. So that probably added the electricity that night as well. But that was by far the most electric basketball game I've went to. And it's up there with the most electric sporting event I've been to. I can imagine when they were in the playoffs this year, it was just as electric because it had been almost the same amount of time since the last time they made the playoffs up until this season. It was the first time they won a playoff game in over a decade. Pistons have some of the best fans. Well, I don't know about that, but the Malice in the Palace, I don't know if you know what that is or not, but that kind of started in the city of Detroit. I think it's just a lot with Detroit sports. I mean, they've been so down for so long across all 4 sports, and now they're like all on the rise at the same time. So every time I go to like a regular season game for baseball or whatever now, hockey, it's way more electric than what it was like 4 or 5 years ago. More people are going. Like, I've been to a couple Tigers games in the last couple years, and it's been damn near packed every time I went. And I was going to some games in 2019 when they would win like barely over 40 games a season. And they were just bottom of the barrel bad, and there was like nobody there. So it's cool to see how much they've turned around. The stadium's made some renovations. Like, there's so many going to games a lot more fun the last few years on top of them being good than what it was even when I was younger and was going. All right, well, that took up a lot of talking time. All of a sudden, we only have 4 laps to go. I just looked up at the board the last lap. I'm like, oh, dang, we only got 5 laps to go already. Almost done with the stream. Still caution free, 3.2 second lead. Hopefully it stays this way. Quarter of a tank of gas left. We've got plenty to make it to the end. We've hit it with 35 to go, so it should be about 4 or 5 laps to the good on fuel. Yeah, college football's crazy. Now, granted, I feel like you'd have to be at an either SEC or a Big Ten game to kind of get the real college football experience, just because there's so many people. I mean, I've been to some NASCAR races, well, the Indy 5, but nothing will top the Indy 500 as far as just the mass amount of people. But the Ohio State-Michigan game, being there, that was the first ever college football game I ever went to, and it was almost kind of overwhelming. That was back in 2017 in Ann Arbor. That was in the prime of Ohio State kicking our tails every single year. It was still electric. I mean, it was a close game, though, too, so that was part of it. Michigan jumped out to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. We're like, oh my gosh, this year we're actually going to beat them. And we're actually there, and go figure, it didn't happen. That was the game Braxton Miller got hurt in the first half. And then this guy that we didn't know of at the time, JT Barrett, came in. It's just like, oh, dude, he's hurt. We're up 14-0. There's no chance we're going to lose this game. Little did we know JT Barrett was going to do some great things at Ohio State that he did. Started with that his first outing against us in the second half. Favorite NASCAR track I've been to? Definitely, I'd say Bristol. Daytona for the 500, the experience of that event as a whole, yes. The track is way more up to date. Bristol just for the pure racing of it. Now, maybe not so much with the next gen car, but I was there in 2021, and that whole weekend for the night race, the Xfinity race was an instant classic. And then the night after was just a great race with Larson, Elliott, and Harvick, and then the Elliott and Harvick deal, but the whole race was pretty good. So those back-to-back nights in particular, those 2 nights, it was just banger after banger. And I mean, that forever kind of cherished my moment of Bristol being great. It was always my favorite track growing up as a kid, but to get that full experience, and that wasn't even the first time I was there before, but yeah, being there for all that was cool. There's so many souvenir places at Bristol. It's up there with Daytona, if not more than that, as far as what you can find NASCAR memorabilia wise, because there's just so many tent vendors that are selling stuff, a lot of old stuff. That's where I've gotten a lot of the diecast behind me have come from Bristol. I would say well over 50% of my diecast collection have come from Bristol, because for one, I've been there year over year, except for last year. It was the first time in like 5 or 6 years I didn't go, but there's just so many of them. Well, we won. Kind of dominated. What there was that many? Well, I mean, there was a lot. We led 90 laps. Probably wasn't quite 42, but there was quite a few, especially in the first half of the race. We really set sail and dominated the second half with this thing going caution-free. We had a 3.2-second margin of victory, 170.81 mile per hour average race speed. It was fast because there were no cautions, 3 pit stops, pretty simple race strategy there. And, yeah, last to first with the 90 laps led. Reed Sorensen led a lap, finished second. John Wood, no laps led third. Our teammate Paul Menard led 7. He finishes 4th. Denny Hamlin 5th, Case Kane 6th, Sam Hornish Jr. 7th, Mike Walsh 8th, Todd Cleaver 9th. He started on the pole, led 3 laps. Kevin Harvick rounded out the top 10. We had 17 cars finish on the lead lap. Our other teammate Dale Jr. finished 21st, a lap down with 3 laps led. So we'll have to see how much of a points gap we have on him. Again, I couldn't clinch the title tonight, but there's a good chance I can clinch it at Richmond tomorrow. So before I end the stream, I'm going to see exactly where I'm going to have to finish tomorrow's race to clinch the title. DNFs, we had quite a few of them. David Stremme, Kevin Conway, Noah Howe, R. Jordan, Juan Pablo Montoya, Clint Boyer. Those were all the DNFs. 6 of them in a 300-mile race. 5 of them were in the first 62 laps. And Boyer was the only guy who had an engine failure in the entire second half of the race. Oh, gotta mute the game. 250 laps tomorrow night at Richmond will be the next race. Get out my calculator. 61 times 7. Let me do my math right just to make sure I'm counting however many races we'll have. So 5. Yeah, so we have 8 races left. 1288 would have been the number coming into the day, so 80 points shy of that. Now I got to pull up the points format just so I can get the position number exactly right. 2007. I would say 190 is the most points you could score in a single race. You can only outscore somebody by 161 points. 1208 minus 727. 81. So for him to mathematically have a chance, he would have to outscore us by 82. So we're going to have a pretty decent finish tomorrow to clinch, but it's definitely possible. So 190. Tiebreaker, I guess 81. So top half of the field. I mean, it doesn't have to be a great race. So we have to finish 17th or better to clinch the championship. And in our first race at Richmond, which was also 250 laps, we led 203 out of 250 and won the race. So we should have good speed tomorrow. Richmond's one of my better racetracks on these EA games, which is weird because in the Heat games, it was probably my worst racetrack. But the EA playthroughs that we've done with these classic games, it's been one of my better ones. So I think we'll be pretty quick. We should be able to clinch the title tomorrow. And again, 17th or better is where we have to finish. That's with the... Trying to think. If Dale Jr. leads the most laps, we would have to finish 17th or better. 195 is the max point. Oh, did I get that wrong? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. So, I didn't even see that. 95, that's 80. Actually, 15th. Because he has to outscore me by 81. If I finish 16th, that'd only be 80. Or I have to score within 81 points of him is what it has to be. So yeah, 15th. All right. I had that wrong. Thanks for updating me there, Michael. I forgot about it being 195 max points day, not 190. So actually, that might mean that we get that right here. 195 minus 43 cars. Oh, it's 34. Oh, no, I had it right. Yeah, it was 161. All right, I was just doing my math wrong. Yeah, so 15th or better is where we have to finish tomorrow to clinch the championship. If we lead a lap right out of the gate, 5 bonus points, then it'll knock us back a position. Then it'd be 16th or better. We lead the most laps, it'll knock it back another spot. So, yeah, we'll do that. When am I on for Dover Xfinity? So as soon as I clinch the championship, which should be tomorrow, I'm done with the Busch series. Just so we can get the custom schedule season started, because we're going to be doing a playoff format for that. So I'm going to have to run the full season because we're not going to be able to clinch the title until the last race of the year. We're going to be doing the full, normal playoff format now. So I will be doing the points myself for all 3 series. And again, driver polls will start tomorrow. So keep an eye out on the community tab. You get to vote for who I'm going to race as. There's a grading system based off the skill level of each driver. So if you want me to have even more of a challenge, vote for somebody who doesn't necessarily run very well. Especially in the year 2007 specifically with their equipment. If you want me to run as one of your favorite drivers, then you can vote for somebody good. That's why we got the race as Casey Kane for the Cup Series. We're in B-level equipment there, so that's probably why the Cup Series has been a little bit more challenging for me than what it is with the Busch and the truck side. The trucks, I think we won 16 races. I think this was our 16th win in Busch. 17th, yeah. So we have 17 wins in Busch through 27 races. But in the Cup Series, we've only won 11 races out of 26. So it's a lot more difficult for me there. So you can only imagine that's with Casey Kane, a guy who has won races in NASCAR on a semi-consistent basis when he was there. He's good for a couple wins a season, especially in his Evernham days. But again, that's B tier. If we end up racing to somebody worse than that, we're probably going to be maybe single-digit wins. So playoff format when we need to get as many playoff points as we can. There's no stage racing, so the only way to get playoff points is by winning races and finishing where we will in the regular season standings as well. So, Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll keep things competitive. And like I said, with the races, I haven't been winning in each of these series. I'm keeping tally of that. So that way I can put the harder races in the playoffs. For instance, California was going to be one of which, even though I dominated tonight, um, might make the day race at California then, because I finished 20th there earlier in the season with 9 laps led. So we had a complete turnaround today, leading 90 and winning. So I made some massive adjustments from how I ran the first race there. But Michigan was a struggle for me. Boulder Raceway Park, I went 0 for 2 in both races there in the Busch Series. So yeah, there's some difficult races. Charlotte, I didn't win across any of the series. No laps led in any of the series. So that's gonna be tough. I didn't lead a single lap in Dover in the Busch Series. So yeah, there's some tough tracks for me for sure on this game. I've been keeping track of that because I like I said, I'm going to try to make it as difficult for myself as possible, and you guys can play along with that because you can vote for who I'm going to race across all 3 series. So we're in the very best equipment for the Busch and truck, so that's also another reason why I won as many races as I did. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern start. We'll run the Richmond race for the Busch Series, try to clinch a 3rd career Busch Series championship for Martin Truex Jr., which I think would be the most all time. I don't think anybody's won 3 Xfinity titles before, so I should probably get on that. I should probably look that up for tomorrow's stream before I say we made history, and we didn't. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.